Greetings and welcome to another friendly debate here at Words About Games, a fortnightly show where we create a top 5 list through the art of debate and friendly discourse. And it's always remained friendly, somehow, even though this is kind of only episode 4, so, I'm sure at some point we will have a falling out. Probably not, because we're very good friends. You generally...
We're also kind of chill.
Yeah, we've generally disagreed before, all the time. And we're pretty good with it. So every 2 weeks we get together, we decide on a top 5 list that we're going to create between the two of us through backwards and forwards debate. We've done top 5 Overwatch characters, top 5 BioWare games, and top 5 games consoles, in which Keith used emotional manipulation and blackmail to get a console on the top 5.
Blackmail.
You made me sad and made me feel things, and I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
You could have gotten that console all the way to number 1 if you wanted to. You understood the power that you were wielding at that moment in time, but it's all in good fun. Which I guess leads me to my disclaimer of if you watch this video and you disagree with it, don't take it too seriously, because the chances are we're not taking it all that seriously.
Given the topic of conversation, it's fair to say we're not taking it that seriously.
Yes. We decided to follow up the surprisingly emotional top 5 games consoles with top 5 evil video game corporations. Dun, dun, dun. That's why he's wearing his black hoodie and I'm wearing a Pikachu hat, because I'm having a bad hair day.
Obviously Pokemon trainers are evil. They are forcing other life forms, which may or may not be sentient, to fight for their own enjoyment.
Why
didn't we put them on the list?
Because they're not a corporation.
That's why. Okay.
There were a couple where I was like, that's not a corporation, I can't have it. Anyway, here's how this thing works. Myself and Keith have independently come up with 7 evil video game corporations and our own separate lists. I have mashed those 2 lists together, and we have the master list written on this whiteboard. This week we have 10 things on the old whiteboard. 10 entries of evil video game corporations. What we're going to do is we're going to whittle this down until we have 5 left, and then we're going to create a top 5. How would we do that? Well, we take it in turns to nominate an entry to be cut. The person who is trying to cut an entry. You've just seen that, yes. Brilliant. Good call. But anyway, fuck, you proper threw me off there, because that's a really good idea. And I've also forgot to hit that. There's an edit in this episode at this point.
No problem.
It's fuck, that's a really good idea. Let's do that instead, quick. Or I might just leave all of this in. Anyway, how this works is we will take turns nominating one of these entries to be cut. The person trying to cut an entry will give an argument as to why it should be cut. The other person can then attempt to give the corporation. I always try to say game, even though we've only done 1 episode about games specifically. But so Keith will try to cut something. I may potentially try to argue that it should not be cut, and then the final decision of whether it should be cut or not will be Keith's. We are still figuring out the format. We learn things every week about how this works. For example, last week I learned that I can trade one thing to make sure that another thing is saved for later on in the discussion. Once we are making our top 5, things change a little bit, but we'll get into that when we get there. Should we jump into it? I haven't missed anything, have I?
Apart from the fact that I'm reading the list that you're holding up backwards.
Which is why you have your own copy. Please, God, tell me you have your own copy.
Yeah, you remembered to send me before we started this time.
Yeah, thank God, because I've made that mistake before. So here is the master list in alphabetical order. We have Aperture Laboratories / Science. It depends on where you go as to whether it's officially labs or science. That's from Portal. Armor Charm Technology from Fear. Interstellar Manufacturing Corporation or Company. I just wrote core. The IMC from Titanfall.
Yeah. It's one of those ones that has 2 different names, because it's also Interstellar Mining Corporation as well.
I was going to say, if it was the International Mining Company, they wouldn't have problems. Rupture Farms from Abe's Odyssey, Shinra Electric Power Company from Final Fantasy VII, Umbrella Corporation from Resident Evil, Union Aerospace Corporation from Doom, Vault-Tec from Fallout, VersaLife from Deus Ex, and Weyland-Yutani Corporation from Alien. And as always, Keith, you will get the first attempted pick.
The cut. So I've been thinking about this, and we have said evil corporations. Okay, we're going to try and cut an evil corporation. Like these are evil corporations. So I'm going to make my first pitch by basically taking off a corporation on there which may or may not be evil.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Aperture Laboratories or Aperture Science.
For fuck's sake.
Because when you think about both Portal games, you never actually interact with any of the Aperture Science people because they're all dead. Because the main antagonist of anyone who's played the game is GLaDOS, an AI who went mad. We only have our own evidence really for this, but she killed off all of the employees using poison gas, after nerve gas, after they tried to stop her killing off all the stuff with nerve gas. I mean, it's possible that the main protagonist is the daughter of one of the people who work there. Maybe not. It's up in the air. But it is known that the evil computer conducting random science experiments did kill off the company that made her.
That happened, yeah.
In the second game, we do get a bit more understanding about what they were up to, which probably explains how they ended up with a GLaDOS in the first place.
We do find out more about the backstory after GLaDOS basically turns into a potato.
Yeah. And yeah, they may have been up to some really weird stuff, but it was all that sort of psyops, sort of 1960s stuff. It's like moon dust. This is going to be how everything works in the future. Lasers, okay. Genetic engineering, I don't understand what it does, but Mantis Men sounds cool.
I mean, there's a reason why one of my sound effects on Twitch TV/Words About Games is the Cave Johnson Lemon speech from Portal 2.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
The only reason I was like, fuck, when he said it was because I was going to pick this one first. Because I was like, yeah, sure. Like, does it deserve to be mentioned on this list? I mean, why not? Portal and Portal 2, fucking both outstanding games. But as far as, I'm trying to figure out, who is the evilest corporation.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going for. And, Aperture Science or Aperture Laboratories, it was like, right, you accidentally made an AI that turned evil and killed everybody. I mean, big deal. So did 50 other evil video game corporations. What makes you stand out?
Yeah, and the fact that GLaDOS at the end of Portal 2 isn't interested in humanity anymore. She's decided to start using android or robots to conduct the rest of the science.
Pushed by Nolan North.
Yeah, because she's decided that humanity is just too difficult a test subject.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I'm not going to argue. Definitely. But it does mean I've now got to consult the list because I was like, that's going to be my first one. Shit, you already took it. No, your strategy was flawless. So I'm going to go with Weyland-Yutani Corporation from Alien. Now, again, much like when I said we were just talking about Portal, Alien Isolation is fucking amazing. And this is not in any way, shape, or form me saying that Alien is worse than any of these games. But I'm not even going to say that they're necessarily not an evil corporation, or more or less evil than some of the corporations that we have on this list. I am going to make the argument based on why I didn't put them on my original top 7 list, which is technically I guess they're kind of a movie corporation.
Yeah.
So when we talk about video game corporations, I was like, definitely evil. Weyland-Yutani Corp and some of the shit that they do is definitely very evil. But also a lot of the stuff came from the movies.
Yeah. I mean, the main reason it's on here is because I logged onto your Twitch channel and I got the advert for, I don't know if you've seen it, but I got the advert for some sort of Aliens audio drama which is on at the moment, and you see a guy.
Yeah, I get that advert.
Camera, and then he gets dragged away. He's talking to his family back home. The other thing is, Weyland-Yutani, pretty much one of the original evil corporations, when you think of how far back they go.
Oh yeah.
But all that they ever really do is, all they be interested in is have no value for human life. But they really do like the idea of having some sort of like super alien weapon, which is the alien, the xenomorph.
Like to the point where they'll just sacrifice like the entire crew of the space station in alien
Nostradamus.
isolation, or the Nostromo
Nostromo, that's it, yeah, Nostromo.
in Alien. It's been a while since I watched those films, and that's sad. That like, I need to rectify that because Alien is one of my favorite films of all time.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I totally agree with that. They're bad, but when you look at some of the stuff that everybody else on here does, it is kind of along the lines of, yeah, they maybe don't deserve to be on this list.
Yeah, like there's degrees of evil, and I feel like some of these companies and corporations just got so far, like they just take that extra step.
Yeah, there's some people on this list. It's just like,
what?
I cannot even begin to process your thought, the how you came to the decision to do this.
But yeah, so that's 2 down. Like, I think in the last episode it took us about half an hour to get this far. So I'll pass the back to you, Keith. Give me another nominee.
Another nominee. Yeah, I'm just trying to move your video so I can actually see where you are. There's one on here that I'm not really sure what they were doing. So I might go with them because I think if they are what I think they are, they're basically just the Illuminati trying to control the world.
I see where you're going with this.
Is this VersaLife?
VersaLife from Deus Ex, yeah. So it basically is like, pitch VersaLife to me. Is what you're trying to say right now. I can do that.
Yeah, it's basically picture defense for VersaLife because what I'm aware.
I mean, I'm not trying to defend any of these corporations. Let's just be clear.
If it is what I think it is, they manufactured a load of prosthetics. Then they had a code in it which would allow them to send them berserk, so that they could then somehow control the world. I'm not entirely sure. The thought process.
That was a different company, but
right.
Let me pitch you. I wrote stuff down, so because I was like, there's a couple where I was like, I'm gonna write some shit down here because like I figured this might come up. So like VersaLife in Deus Ex, we're a pharmaceutical company. There's some kind of connection between a lot of these companies where like they are pharmaceutical companies. Like the games industry really.
The way the thing America works with pharmaceutical companies.
The games industry really doesn't like pharmaceutical companies. So what they did was, in Deus Ex, there was this thing going around called the Black Plague. It was the Black Death, sorry. It was like a plague. It was a Black Death. It was killing people. But luckily, VersaLife had a vaccine for the Black Death. But because this is cyberpunk, dystopian, futuristic sci-fi world, like only the really rich could afford it.
Yeah.
So like basically if you were poor you were going to die if you got the Black Death. Right? That's pretty bad. But, it's not massively bad. But they also created the disease in the first place. So it's like supply and demand. Like if we just infect all of these people and then we'll get super rich selling the cure. That was VersaLife basically.
Yeah, so I don't want to say it out loud because I never know if it was proven that this happened, not with infecting humans, but that do seem to have a vague memory about outbreak amongst animals in the UK, which was traced back to a company working on the vaccine for said outbreak.
That could have been unintentional, like, oh shit, it got out. But like, no, this like throughout the game in Deus Ex, like it's 100% like we did this on purpose. Hence why they're on my list in the first place.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. And given my personal thought processes on some of the people on here, that might be worse than one of them. So maybe we should come back to that one.
Cool.
It depends how you take a very specific company that I'll probably pitch in a minute.
Yeah, sure. This is difficult. There are some really evil video game companies. I think for my next one, I'm gonna go with the IMC.
Yeah,
From Titanfall.
yeah.
They're basically the bad guys from Firefly. Um,
There is a lot of crossover with the IMC. The reason they're on here, because I thought I'd have to go with specific division, until I realized the IMC is actually a corporation in itself, is, how should I put this? You have to kind of remember some of the stuff from the first game, which is basically
Shit.
that, yeah, they, in the very first mission on the IMC campaign, you're basically being introduced by the mercenary, evil mercenary, who's like in both games, to a load of robots, which have basically been designed for ethnic cleansing purposes,
Yeah.
and they're being dropped into the middle of a town, which is a map you can still play in both Titanfall games. Yeah, they're super into clearing out unlicensed colonies,
Yeah.
unlicensed habitations and stuff,
Because
which
that's
is
what it
basically
is.
they drop troops in and basically slaughter everyone.
The frontier versus the
Yeah, yeah,
core worlds. The brown
yeah,
coats. Um,
yeah. And then you get the stuff in the second game where they're at the point where they're willing to blow up planets.
I mean, so are the Vorlons.
Yeah,
Both a super obscure Babylon 5 reference.
yeah,
Yeah, finger guns. Um,
yeah. It's basically the ethnic cleansing that they're on here for. I mean, I did think if I had to pitch this, because I was going to pitch this in maybe a round or so, I would go with oh yeah, they do animal testing on creatures which can rip you to pieces.
yeah,
Or they mess around with time for a bit. They had a what knows blow planet, but it is basically just
awesome level.
yeah, it is. But it is basically just the whole sort of like I just remember what the specters and the stalkers are meant for, and it's basically just clearing out people that they don't like. Also, there's the whole thing with the war crimes where the POWs will basically put through never-ending tests of, hey, here, make our combat AI units better, and then just send it to a meat. It was just endless firefights for those poor Marines.
I feel like at this point, I really need to do the thing of like we're not taking this too seriously.
Yeah,
Because it's one of those things where it's like, huh, ethnic cleansing, huh? Well, if I decide to cut this off the list now, I'm gonna look like a piece of shit.
yeah. I mean, technically, the ethnic cleansing is they're getting rid of colonists off the planet who won't submit or unregistered, as opposed to looking for specific physical traits in people. It's basically sort of, yeah, we want this planet. It's not, we don't like this race
Yeah.
of people.
Yeah. I just want to put that. I'm just going to put that out there now, completely unrelated to what we've been talking about. That all of these things are very, 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 very bad,
Yeah,
and we're not saying any of them are acceptable.
yeah,
So I'm going to put a star next to IMC for now,
yeah,
and I'm going to suggest that maybe like looking at this list and like all of the things that I know that all of these companies have done, maybe we should raise the bar for evilness in terms of the threshold into the top 5.
yeah.
And I'm gonna pass it over to you. Ow.
Oh yes, that I was talking, but it wasn't my pick. I'm going to say and try and cut this one off again because a question about the evilness of the company as we last thought, which is the Shinra Electrical Power Company. Now, the Shinra Electrical Power Company had
Go on.
the interesting idea of basically it was like, oh, we're going to get power from the planet by like shooting stuff into and get energy out. Oh, geothermal energy. Now we've discovered this like energy source that's down there that we don't really understand, but people keep calling the life source, and we're going to use that life stream, and we're going to use that to power our cities. And then, as the world around them started to die, didn't really stop and just kept looking for that ever bigger, sort of that bigger hole of energy, which is stupid. Yes. That's not what made them evil, though.
It's not.
No, they did one of the presidents at least was like very into stuff like kidnapping and squashing the enemies, and then they did drop like an entire section of the city, crushing some slums.
To kill like 6 people.
Yeah, well, to
And then
kill.
blamed it on the people who were trying to kill it and failed.
Yeah, it was basically like to stop an insurrection and not make them
I
martyrs.
mean,
Yeah, well, one of the reasons I don't think they're like wholly evil is because partly I've seen Advent Children, and I've seen like the end of them, which is they're trying for redemption. But also, I do seem to remember a cutscene which I only got not much further than that in the game, where they are trying to stop a city being overrun by a giant biological weapon, which I don't remember them creating.
which cutscene was that?
Ah, it's after Cloud leaves. Like, or like there's like a scene where they're on the coast, and it's like you just see this thing coming
Oh,
out of
Weapon
the
comes
pipe.
after them. I mean, you know why Weapon's attacking them, right? Because like Weapon is the planet's self-defense mechanism. Because they're killing the planet. Like it's not so much that Weapon is trying to destroy the city as much as they're just trying to save the planet.
Yeah, as I mentioned, these guys were idiots.
Oh yeah, big style. I mean, like they're an electric power company with a standing army, killer robots, a giant cannon. They were the government of a city. They kind of controlled most of the planet. And again, they're an electric power company. Like, imagine if British Gas or Exxon had all of those things.
I'm hoping that British Gas doesn't have a voluntary super soldier program where they basically do genetic engineering to try
Like,
and turn you
yeah.
Captain America.
Oh yeah, I mean, like they created tons of the monsters that you find in the world just
Yeah,
because they were just experimenting with
yeah,
Genova.
yeah.
Like as one of the cutscenes makes clear, like they're, I mean, they are evil and they definitely deserve to be on this list. And again, for no, like, imagine if you didn't pay your electric bill, like in this world, like your electric will probably just get cut off. In Final Fantasy VII, there's every chance a giant robot will come round your house and destroy it. Because the presidents, both of them, were kind of shitty, terrible.
The first one was, I think, a lot shittier than the Sun.
Um, I mean, yes, and obviously there's the whole thing where they're willfully destroying the planet, and then to the point where it gets to a point where the planet is literally going to be destroyed by a giant meteor, and the weapons are out, and like the weapons aren't like shit meteor, the weapons are like shit Shinra, get them. Like they are a clearer and more present danger to the planet than a giant meteor. But anyway, that's my defense of that.
Yeah.
If anything,
My take for most of it was that Shinra was just mostly stupid and had been evil.
if anything, I made some very funny points.
Yeah.
Are we cutting them? Because obviously, as is standard, like you make the cut, I make the argument, you decide whether it gets cut or not.
I am not condoning anything they did,
No.
but what I'm basically saying is this all started with them being stupid and having the target fixation. Oh, we just need to get more energy. They didn't stop to think. Oh wait, we're killing the planet. We just need to get more energy.
Standing army, government, planet
Yeah.
domination.
Oh, they were definitely corrupt. They were stupid, corrupt.
They were a power company.
Technically a power company, yeah.
They had tanks.
Yeah. They did some really stupid stuff, but most of all of the like bad stuff which happened was based out of stupidity.
I mean, there's a thread running through a lot of these companies.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like what I'm basically saying is they didn't start out with the intent, or they didn't have the intent of destroying the planet. They didn't have the intent. Yeah, and I'm basing evil is partly to be evil. You need to have the intent to.
So are we scratching them off?
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
I feel dirty.
Like,
I feel dirty now. Like,
the thing is, though, I'm balancing like this. There's a life deliberately made the virus to kill off millions in profit from it. Just trying to sell people overpriced electricity.
Fair enough. I made my case, and that's what matters. Shit.
Yeah, now it's the next case.
Oh my god. Okay, raise the bar. I'm gonna read the list out while I attempt to manually readjust the bar for evil in my head because all of these
Yeah.
companies are utterly atrocious. But here's what we have left. I've just dropped my pen. Armacham Technology, the IMC from sorry, let me try that again. Armacham Technology from Fear, the IMC from Titanfall, Rupture Farms from Abe's Odyssey, Umbrella Corporation from Resident Evil, the Union Aerospace Corporation from Doom, Vault-Tec from Fallout, and VersaLife from Deus Ex. Now,
On the list.
I have readjusted my internal moral compass temporarily to try and figure out like who is the evilest of them all. And you know what? Out of everything on that list, I'm not going to go after the same thing I went after last time. So I'm actually going to put. I can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm actually going to put VersaLife.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like in like 20 years time that could just be reality and not a cyberpunk futuristic sci-fi video game. Which is still very evil.
Yeah.
But then I look at some of the things the other companies on this list have done, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's probably morally worse. That's definitely morally worse.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, they did that thing.
Yeah. See, are you making a proposal for VersaLife to be cut off?
Yes.
I'm going to make a counter offer for you.
Interesting.
Because I'm sitting here thinking of it, and it's like the Interstellar Manufacturing
Thank
Corporation.
you.
Yeah. While like genocide, I'll just call it genocide, and fighting unjust wars and stuff, I feel that having actually listened to that stupid General rabbit on in Titanfall 2 and the cuts like in the audio log you can find, which is far too long, there is at least some like actual thought process beyond just making money for that conflict.
Is that not worse?
VersaLife just wants to make money and doesn't care about killing millions of people to do it. The IMC says it needs like resources to keep Earth and the other central systems running because they're running out of resources.
Ends justify the means. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, they're on the line of the ends justify the means.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, the general I'm quoting did say that like human life has no intrinsic value.
Yeah,
so they are evil. They are evil, but they are at the end justify the means. They do feel some sort of pressure to get this done. Whereas VersaLife is just like, hey, we're working on this virus. You know what would be really cool if we could make tons of money off it. And you're right, I can totally see that happening. So I would say that
I accept your trade.
Slightly more evil.
I accepted your trade the second you said it. It was just one of those things where I was like, the IMC is definitely the odd one out, but like I just did my thing on them, and it's like I don't really want to do it again.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry.
So I guess that's a new thing we've learned about friendly debates. You can't try and nominate the same thing twice in a row.
We don't feel like doing it, but I definitely think that VersaLife is worse than the IMC.
So we've got 6 left.
Only though both of them are like still very like real worldy sort of things.
Yeah.
One's colonization.
Yeah. That's not me saying like this could totally be happening in the real world very soon is a good thing. Yeah. Like again, it's like none of this is good. This is a fun discussion about terrible atrocities in video games. We've got 6 left, so somehow you always end up with the first pick and the deciding pick of us getting into the top 5. But who knows? They might not actually go through. Make your pick. I know it's tough, right?
Yeah, I'm basing this on how like particularly vile and heinous each person's acts are. And there's 2 on there that I want to leave for a very long time.
The problem is there's 6 on there. I'm like, oh shit, that's terrible, man.
Gone.
Yeah. Maybe this.
Yeah. Forward and backward.
Armor Child Technology from Fear, Rupture Farms from Abe's Odyssey, Umbrella Corporation from Resident Evil, Union Aerospace Corporation from Doom, Vault-Tec from Fallout, and VersaLife from Deus Ex.
Okay, I'm gonna go with one of my own choices. And you may need to correct me in a second. I'm gonna go with the Union Aerospace Corporation from Doom. Union Aerospace Corporation, because I did my research after sending the list, is the people from Doom, but not the remake of Doom. The Union Aerospace Corp is from like the original one. I think the people in the new one are like a subset of that.
Right, but are they not just the same? I mean, is it not just like a subsidiary of a company?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. What I was reading, it looked like there might be two different entities.
I mean, I'm not going to get into the specifics of like how corporations are like function.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's functionally the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
just for background on the original ones, the Union Aerospace Corp from the original Doom series, their initial attempts, they did, unlike in the reboot, they weren't initially going out to meet the demons. It was a teleport mishap gone horribly, horribly wrong. It's like, we will build two bases like above Mars, so there's like if something goes wrong, it won't be too bad, and we'll try to test out teleportation technology between the two moons. And it went horribly, horribly wrong because it opened up a gateway to hell. So again, they weren't starting off to be evil. It just went really, really wrong.
I mean, it's the same company.
It's the same company.
Yeah.
Right. Because in the second one, they weren't still like... The company itself, at least it's found out, wasn't trying to be evil. It was just... They thought, we have an energy crisis on Earth. People are like... cold, they're hungry, they're thirsty. How can we need cheap free energy? And they found a cheap free energy source on Mars. And that energy source was hell. So they decided to mine hell. So we've got back to the idea of this is based on stupidity so much as it is based on...
Yeah, but I mean, like, this is stupidity to the nth degree. Like, we both watched the No Clip series about Doom, right? Where it was like that dude, I can't remember his name, but he was amazing. Was talking about it where it's like there's posters on the wall where it's just like, we need 10 people for this project, we're going to turn you into demons. It's like, I mean, there's stupidity, absolutely, and then there's like there's stupidity but also like evil stupidity, like
they were stupid to think this would ever work, and then it did kind of become a cult because certain very high up level people became obsessed with these beings, which they called the demons, like Olivia, who pretty much decided to start the end of days because she had been turned by the demons. And yeah, you're right, there were things in the break room about the Revenant program.
That was it, the Revenant program.
Yeah, which is basically they would reanimate you, and it was all very, very weird.
It was just like, what the fuck? No, what the fuck? What the literal fuck? Yeah. So yeah, it's like, I mean, in defense of the USC, it's like, no, these guys were super evil. Especially when you started unlocking, like, because there was the codex entries where it was like, you got the basic entry on a monster. And then it was like, but then you got the like, because it's the USC handbook that you're reading, and when you get like the second entry, it's like, what?
It's like there's the entry level stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, this is like normal and stuff.
And then there's you're in the cult entry.
And then there's sort of like the other version of it, which is like the ones from the people who are definitely into this whole cult of demons are cool.
Yeah.
And it's very, very strange.
Well, the decision, I've made my argument in defense of Doom, USC, not Doom. Doom's an awesome game. The final decision lies in your hands. Yeah.
I'm going for the cop out of like, I think the corporation, which while very stupid, wasn't as evil as like you basically see in the game, because in the new version, everything you see, like the whole thing is kicked off because as I can't remember, Hayden, I think it is the robot. Basically tells you that she's been turned by the demons and has formed some sort of weird cult inside the company.
This isn't in
But yeah,
defense.
it was definitely evil before that,
Yeah,
because there
I
was
was going to say this isn't in defense of because obviously like, that moment has passed. But I do want to point out that in the game, when you see the demonic threat level, like that means that there's an acceptable level of demonic invasion before it reaches before it reaches an emergency.
This is the thing I was saying. Like they have a very liberal approach to which they cover up as workplace accidents to people on Earth. But yeah, they have like acceptable levels of demonic invasion and how to deal with it.
It's just it is very much tongue in cheek and
the acceptable like procedure for like most people in a demonic invasion is just like sit down quietly and wait for death.
Yep.
Because they don't want the very valuable demons to die.
Yeah, because the demons are very valuable. Okay, cool. So with that, we are into the top 5.
Yeah.
So here's what's left.
Yeah.
We've got the Untitled Corporation from Fear, Rupture Foams from Abe's Odyssey, Umbrella Corporation from Resident Evil, Vault-Tec from Fallout, VersaLife from Deus Ex. What we're going to do now is we're going to try and make this into a top 5 somehow. And how we're going to do that is a little bit different to what we've just done. So instead of us taking turns, making picks, offering counter arguments, we're going to make pitches. So we're going to start at number 5 and start working our way up until we get to number 1, or technically, I guess, number 2. And we're going to make a pitch, make an argument for that, and then the other person can counter, but crucially, as a difference, has to actually offer up a counter pick. And then we decide which one of those 2 picks will end up in the position that we're arguing for. So I'm going to start at number 5. Normally, this is the part where I'm like, I have a pick for number 5. And I'm staring at this list and I'm like, I ain't got nothing. Like, which one of these isn't as good as the other ones? Or which one of these is less evil than the other 4?
Yeah, there are only 2 of my original picks left.
You kind of decimated your own list, to be fair. Like, like all 5 of these, and like some of these were on your list. Like all 5 of these picks are my picks. Like I've barely had to defend my own list. Like I'm like this is a very strange episode of Friendly Debates for me. I'm gonna make a pitch for number 5, and no, I'm not. I don't know. Do you have anything? Because if not, I'm just gonna throw something at the wall and see if it sticks.
Vault-Tec.
That was what I was thinking as well. Go on, though.
Well, Vault-Tec, for those of you who don't know, is from the Fallout series, a company that would store spaces in Fallout shelters if nuclear war happened.
They offered them for free. Sometimes they offered them for free.
Yeah, which they 100% lived up to that part of their bargain. They 100% created Vault.
Yes,
for the latest. I was going to say for this, like, so that people could survive the nuclear apocalypse. Some of which were completely above board and regular.
A couple of them.
Yeah. Some of which did bizarre social or like physical science experiments on the people inside for
Indeed.
Who knows what reasons.
Boredom? Like, it's never really clear why Vault-Tec makes... Because, like, there are so many vaults in, like, Fallout 2, 3, 4, 76, although none of them are open at the moment, apart from Vault 76. And it's never really clear why they do the things that they do. And some of the experiments are like, oh, that's evil. Some of the experiments are just really weird.
Yeah. It's almost as if the people who did Aperture Laboratories and like Vault-Tec are the same company on different like versions of the Earth.
Yeah, but yeah, pretty much every vault, except and two that I know of, apart from 2, one of them was Vault 1. And even then, that was a bit weird because they uploaded the president's consciousness into a fucking computer. And Vault 76 were science experiments of some description. like
Yeah.
in some way. Like the vault from Fallout 4 that you start in was like, we're going to cryogenically freeze you, like for like 200 years or whatever it was. Which, I mean, that's technically not, and I mean, that's bad because they didn't tell anyone they were going to cryogenically freeze them before they put them in the vault. But that's
Yeah.
like the least bad vault that I know of in Fallout.
I am aware of one where they were got a social experiment. They said that you had to kill someone every X period of time.
Yep.
However, that they were expecting nobody to actually do that. But what they
what
did
happened?
instead was they executed the only person who knew that they didn't have to first, and then everything went to hell from there.
Yeah, like, I mean, Vault-Tec's a bad, bad company, man. I'd love to one day, like, get to, like, find Vault-Tec, because there's got to be a vault out there.
Yeah.
For the people who run Vault-Tec. Yeah. Like, I'd love to find that vault someday in a Fallout game and just be like, the fuck? But, yeah, no, like, that was the one I was going to throw at the wall, so I'm quite happy to stick that in at number 5. Vault-Tec. And then I'll put Fallout underneath. So yeah, we did it. We've got one out of the top 5. Number 5, Vault-Tec. And I guess I could cross that off the list. That would be very helpful. So now we have to figure out number 4.
I'm trying to weigh up, like,
the things that we're trying to, like, weigh up in our heads of, like, which was more evil.
Yes. Let's take, for instance, this is the thing that's going to my head at the moment. It's like Rupture Farms. Rupture Farms was a company that produced meat products in a sci-fi universe.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept doing it to the point where the species they were using would go extinct, which is greed beyond intelligence.
Totally.
To the point where they start using their own slaves as a food source.
Yep. They packaged them up, put them in the things, and sold them to the people. And didn't tell them what was in it. Hence the odyssey that Abe goes on.
Yeah. I'm trying to work out if that's worse than creating a virus which can kill off a load of people.
Which admittedly is 2 of the 3 that you haven't mentioned. And then there was Armacham Technology. You were like, hey, this little girl's got...
I'm kind of aware of what happens with Armacham Victoria. That's a very personal sort of horribleness.
That's like, oh my god, that was your first thought?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out which is worse.
I mean, I want to say VersaLife would be my idea for number 4.
If we do that, I think Rupture Farms has to be free.
Okay. So VersaLife we've talked about extensively already twice now.
Yeah.
We don't need to go on them again.
Yeah.
If we do VersaLife, it doesn't have a hyphen. I fucked that up. So VersaLife from Deus Ex is at number 3. And then you want to put Rupture Farms at number...
it's like
number 3 and VersaLife is at number 4.
Yeah, it's like the next step really is that you're willing to wipe out an entire species for money.
Yeah, but then I look at Umbrella Corporation. And I know they're the most well-known of all of the evil video game corporations, thanks to the popularity of the Resident Evil franchise.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure. I mean, they created a bioweapon. Like, the thing you've got to remember about Umbrella, they were just trying to make the Tyrant. Everything else that happened in Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. Like, Mr. X from Resident Evil 2 was just the next evolution of the Tyrant, and Nemesis was obviously just another evolution of the Tyrant, specifically designed, engineered, and programmed to kill the members of STARS who witnessed the events of the first game. And then I go back to what you were saying before about stupidity.
Yeah. There's a level of specifically involved in the G virus, which is complete and utter stupidity. And I would agree with what you were going on about before. However, having played the Resident Evil 2 remake, and having seen stuff and read some of the paperwork regarding the orphanage.
Yeah, the orphanage you see is very new. That wasn't in Resident Evil 2 originally.
Right.
So it is like, yeah, now that I weigh that up as well. I mean,
Yeah.
explain it just so people know if they haven't
The
played this.
orphanage, because Raccoon City pretty much ruled. Sorry, Raccoon City was pretty much
Was
ruled
owned
by
by the
Umbrella
Umbrella
Corporation.
Corporation.
They infiltrated the infrastructure where they could have their secret hidden the like ground base, but they also ran like medical facilities and the city orphanage,
Of course
where
they did.
yeah, where kids would turn up to but never really leave, or at least they would.
Like the Hotel California, but much more
Yeah,
horrifying.
they would find like to be found parents and go away somewhere special. But there was a diary mention in a couple of like bits of paper you find it's like of boogeymen turning up and giving people like taking people away and stuff, and then someone comes back one time and they're basically minutes away from becoming a zombie when they're taken away again. Stuff.
Yeah, they're experimenting on kids. Thank you for reminding me about that.
And then there's the lab notes about G virus, where they're going on about how they're testing them on people, and it's like, oh, X number of people like died, one person turned, and then there's one which is missing because one killed themselves when they realized what was happening, and it's like,
I mean,
they
that's
weren't a human testing.
yeah, and that's kind of part of the course for Resident Evil. The kids thing, though, definitely not splits it up a notch. But I do want to point out again, just as I lock these two choices in your preferred order, and then we get to talk about armor charm technology.
Yeah.
Like Rupture Farms was basically making Soylent Green, like that. They were eating people, like, and then it's just like they were like, "Oh shit, we're running out of food. What do we do? Should we like invest in sustainable crops or like?" No, we'll just get our slaves and we'll just to make them into food, and then we'll all be able to eat. But yes, no, you're right. Like, I forgot about the kids thing because again, that was added. That's not me being like a bitch. That was added in the remake, and I've only played the remake at normal pace once. Like the rest of the time, I'm skipping through all of the stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I accept your premise that everything about the original Umbrella Corporation would have put them below Rupture Farms.
Yeah.
But yes.
I mean, just one other thing I was remembering about the G virus, who, like, bear in mind it was two parents who were creating this, did point out that their creation, the G, like, zombie, whatever they call it, would be driven out to find its own progeny and implant them so it could breed.
Yes.
To create true G types. Two parents created this creature.
Yes.
Fully aware of what would happen.
Now, God, I can't believe I'm about to say that, but in their defense, in the Birkins' defense, the Birkins were terrible people.
Oh, they certainly were. You certainly see that in Leon's.
Yes, in Leon's journey, you definitely get to see that. But also, I don't think William Birkin was planning on injecting himself with the G virus.
He refused to give the the virus over to a load of special forces people. Yeah, I saw that video.
His journey is really fascinating. In the game, because like there's this like sense that he actually has some awareness and control of his actions right up until the point where Mr. X tries to kill you in the lift with Claire and Cherry, and then like it's because that's when his head does the thing where the other head comes out, and that's like the last action of like William Birkin, and then basically he's just the G Birkin, the dickhead, because I fucking hate that boss fight where he comes in through the door, and then you've got to hit him with the container.
Oh, the container, yeah.
Despise that boss fight quite a bit. So that's 3 and 2. So at 3 we've got Rupture Farms, and at 2 we've got Umbrella Corporation from Resident Evil. So that means by default, I guess, at number 1, Armor Charm technology from Fear. Now, when we pitched this, I completely forgot. Like, they weren't even on my mind, right?
Yeah.
Like, Fear wasn't even registered in my brain, and I've got it written down here somewhere.
I haven't, as I say, I haven't played this game, but I have heard of A, the game, and B, some of the shady stuff of some of the stuff they did on other people going on about like horror games about
Yeah,
what happened, and it is horrific, which is why I haven't wanted to touch them at all on this list.
yeah. I mean, where do you even start? Like, so first of all, Armor Sham Technology, they're a weapons manufacturer. They make weapons, and they do this by the normal standard techniques. Making like guns and having a private army, because of course. And then like they go a step beyond where it's like, okay, genetic and experiments on their soldiers. Trying to make the Steve Rogers type super soldier,
Yeah.
and then they step up again, and then they start stealing babies. As you do, they just steal babies, and then genetically alter children. And when they find out that one of them, Alma, has psionic abilities, that's when they become really evil. So like anything like from before that, where it's like, sorry, I just need to, there we go. Like where it's like, yeah, there's some evil stuff that they do, where it's like, yeah, they're on a par with like everybody else, right? Like Umbrella Corporation and all that. And then it's like, yeah, they do some really, really bad stuff. I'm just reading through it now. Because there's two timelines, which makes Fear very,
Yeah.
very strange. Because like there was some DLC to the first game. So let me tell you about their projects. Some of them were fairly benign, like Project Icarus, where they were just trying to like help maintain the bone density of astronauts so they could go into space for extended periods of time. The
Yeah.
subjects were strapped down for months at a time and kept alive on a liquid diet to help them lose muscle mass and bone density. Despite ATC's best efforts, a solution could not be found, so replica candidates were operated on with the goal to remove. Oh, hold on. It's skipping around because there's adverts loading. With the goal to remove their bones and replace them with a lightweight material that would not decay. Not only were the operations successful in negating structural decay, it also granted the subjects speed and agility never seen before. However, the project was deemed too expensive and shut down. That's where the super soldiers came from, incidentally. They replaced the bones with a lightweight material.
And it's kind of like Wolverine, but not.
Project Paragon was first introduced in 1982 when it was used to test the psionic powers of 3-year-old Alma Wade. After that, the project would not be used again until it became clear that Alma could not be controlled and that other subjects with similar powers were needed. At the time, the main goal of Paragon became to find gifted children with unnatural powers. Children who already had some form of powers were tested for strength, while those who did not were given drugs in an effort to create abilities. And also, these kids were kidnapped.
Yeah.
And Alma was 3 years old. Alma is the ring style girl who
Yeah.
haunts you throughout the entire series. Should we talk about Project Origin?
I don't know anything about these projects, so go ahead.
Well, Project Origin was such a big deal. It was the subtitle of the second game.
Yeah, might cut out.
Project Origin, it definitely didn't, but I'll say that again just for your benefit. Project Origin was so important. It was the subtitle of the second game.
It must be Discord. I didn't get. It doesn't like Project. It get Project Origin both times, and then either a Ghost or Discord just goes nope.
I mean, that's terrifying.
Nope.
I'll try it again. Project Origin was so important. It was the subtitle of the second game. I'm keeping that in because it's like, okay, so Alma's definitely a real. By age 6, the ATC realized that Alma was far too dangerous to continue to be worked with, and that her steady stream of psychic attacks on ATC employees were only going to worsen. So there was already psychic attacks that they were already putting their employees through, and they were fine with. It goes back to that whole demonic invasion thing where it was like there's an acceptable level of psychic attacks from a 6-year-old girl who's being experimented on. To this end, the ATC had Alma put into an induced coma 2 days before her 8th birthday, so that she could no longer fight back against their experimentation of her. So again, they put her in an induced coma, they
Yeah.
didn't stop experimenting on her.
No.
When Alma was 14, she was impregnated with the first of 2 prototypes, which she gave birth to at the age of 15. She was immediately impregnated again and gave birth the second time at 16.
This is the stuff that I'd heard of, which why I didn't even want to touch this one.
Project Origin was officially shut down in 2005 when the second prototype, Paxton Fettel, who's the antagonist of the series, pretty much one of them, went rogue and killed several Origin staffers in retaliation for his mother's mistreatment. The prototype was contained and Alma was killed by removing her life support while the facility her body stored in was shut down. Project Perseus began as a way to hone the psionic powers of Paxton Fettel, the second of Alma's 2 sons. Replica soldiers were created specifically to follow the psychic orders of Fettel. Perseus was still ongoing at the time of Fear, and the Perseus compound is where 30-year-old Fettel goes rogue after engaging in a second synchronicity event with his deceased mother. That's the game, basically, the first one. Because Point Man, because he's never, the protagonist of the Fear series is never given a name. He was the first kid. He didn't have psionic powers. He just had like really good reflexes. That's why you could do bullet time for a bit, which you really needed when those psychic soldiers turned up. I mean, do I need to give any more justification for why this is the number 1 evil video game corporation?
I mean, the thing I've like heard it mentioned on suggested that the girl from the series had been like the daughter of one of the scientists, but beyond that, that was pretty much what I was like. Okay, so you took this child, put her in a coma, and then okay,
yeah,
it's just that SpongeBob gif where he just lies in the hole in the ground. And
it's like you started experimenting on her at the age of 3. You put her in a coma at the age of 8 because her psychic attacks were getting too much for the staff to bear, but didn't stop experimenting on her. At which point, when she was 14, you impregnated her. Then when she was 15, you impregnated her again. It's no wonder she's pissed, man. And then the games happen, and the games are fucking terrifying. They're amazing. The first one was. The second one was pretty good, and the third one was existed. Yeah, they said it couldn't be done, that they couldn't marry like a straight up horror with an actual like first person shooter. It can be done.
They found a way.
It helps that you can't really shoot Alma. So she's terrifying because you can't obviously shoot her. Like I always remember there's 2, like sorry, this is turning into a Fear is Awesome moment, but there's always 2 memories that strike me. One is the Fear demo that came out like before the original game came out, when Russell was playing it, and when Alma does this thing, so you see her at the end of a corridor, you're like, oh shit, and then you turn around or something. Like I don't remember the exact chain of events. All I remember is she summons like this weird like demonic like creature to run at you. And basically, like, most people would freak out, start shooting, try to run away. Russ panicked and started mashing a bunch of buttons and turned bullet time on at the exact second he did a jumping kick. So he panicked, and in slow motion, he just did this slow motion flying kick towards this monster that was jumping towards him.
That's awesome.
And then the second one was when I was playing Project Origin. The second one, where you kind of, there's this really long sort of corridor bit, and I had the gun and I'd just done this massive section, and then I turned, and then miles away was, I was like, I zoomed in with the scope, and I was like, I'm pretty sure, that's weird. Oh, I can see Alma. She's like all the way over there. At this point, she's like a teenager. Like, she looks like a teenager, not a kid. And I was like, I'm going to shoot her. And I just went, bang! And then obviously nothing happened, because she's a ghost, right? But as I shot, and then she just like, looks at you like, uh-oh. So I shot again, as you do, because I was panicking. And then all of a sudden, like, it's like, you know when a velociraptor runs at someone in Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
It was like that moment. But I didn't take the scope off for some dumb reason. But she just comes at me, and it's like ah! Bad idea. But yeah, no. Great games. Armacham Corporation technology, whatever they're called. Fucking Jesus Christ. Yikes.
It gets to like sort of like massive with like personal like darkness connotations, and just oh my chance like
Yeah, it's like you get to the stuff about the super soldiers and the genetic experiments and the bone density experiments, and you're like, cool, yep, generic evil corporation stuff, and then Project Origin. I'm sorry, what? So here's our top 5 in our final standings. At number 5, we have Vault-Tec from the Fallout series. At number 4, we have VersaLife from Deus Ex. At number 3, we have Rupture Farms from Apes Odyssey. At number 2, we have the Umbrella Corporation from the Resident Evil series. And far, far away at number 1, we have Armacham Technology from the Fear series. We need to do something even more light-hearted for the next friendly debate. Something that doesn't involve evil. I feel like we went into this thinking, this will be fun. And then we got 2 corporations in and we were like, oh dear God, what have we done?
it's like oh yeah, it's like Aperture's like sides like they're not actually keep you account for Road Portal because they got killed off by their own experiment.
Although I am quite proud of drawing the parallel between Shinra Electric Company and British Gas.
Yeah, there was one thing I forgot to mention when I was going on about design. One of the only things we know that actually did commercially was try and sell those weapon turrets to people as home protection. That's pretty much the only stuff we know that they tried to sell commercially.
I'm happy with that list. I'm not happy with it because it's evil video game corporate. It's like evil, but I'm satisfied with that list.
You have to rub that off the board before you go to sleep tonight.
I'm after not being able to say Project Origin like 4 times in a row. I'm convinced I'm going to die tonight. So this video might never see the light of day.
You know what's really funny about that? It happened again. You said Project Origins, and then the next part of the sentence just got cut out by Discord.
Are you just messing with me right now? All right, cool. So tomorrow, when they find my corpse, you need to come on this computer and you need to upload this video to YouTube. There needs to be evidence. I'm going to send
I'll get my brother to do it because I don't want it to,
But you'll happily sacrifice Paul. Nice.
Oh no, what I was thinking was I don't want it to get accidentally deleted. I'm doing.
Fair enough. Anyway, I'm going to try it one more time. Project Origin was a fucking disaster, shit show, terrible idea. Okay, maybe the haunting is over. Wait, what's that behind me?
God of War things move sideways.
The God of War thing is still perpendicular. That's not the right word. Keith, let's get the fuck out of here before a ghost tries to kill me.
Oh yeah, Vault Boys multiply.
Shut up. Say bye.
Bye.